Today, we're diving into the world of vulnerability scanning and exploit searching using three powerful tools available in Kali Linux, specifically Nikto, WhatWeb, and Searchsploit. These tools are essential for effectively performing reconnaissance against web servers during your professional penetration testing engagement. There's a lot to cover, so let's begin. Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. Make sure before we begin you click the subscribe and hit the bell. That way you can stay updated with the latest cybersecurity and ethical hacking videos that we do. Okay everybody, let's just get right into it. So we're going to be using Kali Linux today, and one of the advantages of Kali is that it already comes pre-compiled with a collection of penetration testing tools. And today we're going to use three of them specifically: the Nikto, WhatWeb, and Searchsploit. So these three tools are actually invaluable when it comes to identifying vulnerabilities and potential exploits in web applications and services. The first tool I want to use is WhatWeb, but I want to make sure that at this stage of our engagement, we have already performed a network scan. We've identified what services are on our network, and we've identified at least a couple. In this case, we're going to have two web servers running on our system. So WhatWeb is a great tool in Kali Linux for performing very quick web reconnaissance. It allows us to rapidly prioritize which servers we want to investigate further. The whole point behind the tool is it's designed to identify the web technologies that are on the system and then gather valuable information about the target website. In our lab, we're going to have two vulnerable servers. Both of them are Chioptrix. One is the level 1, one is the level 3. Both of them are available from VulnHub. So at this point, I've already done an ARP scan, and I located our target systems and their IP address. In addition, my Nmap scan showed web servers on both of the targets. To use WhatWeb, we simply start in a terminal window and type WhatWeb, followed by the target URL. It's really that simple. Once you hit enter, the tool will actually scan the site that you provide to it, and it'll provide a comprehensive list of technologies and plugins that are currently in use on that system, which can be crucial for finding potential vulnerabilities. The results of the WhatWeb scan can be seen here. You can see it went pretty quickly, and it looks like the web server hasn't been really set up past its initial install. And the reason why I say that is because we see the banner page. It says test page for the Apache web server on Red Hat Linux. So at that point, let's check on the other target and see what we can find. The WhatWeb results on the other target actually shows a more robust web environment. It includes applications that are potentially exploitable. So I'm actually hyper-focused on the Lotus CMS information that you can see here, but let's hold off before jumping to conclusions on which systems we want to exploit. Remember, we're in the reconnaissance phase, so we want to look at all of our options and choose which servers we want to attack first, second, third, fourth, etc. So before we make any decision about which target we're going to go after, let's take a look at Nikto and see what we can get. So Nikto is a powerful web server scanner that is designed, again, to identify various vulnerabilities in web applications and services. You'll find out that the information that we get from Nikto includes some of the information that we found using WhatWeb, and then it has additional information that isn't included in that initial scan. So it's pretty critical to do both of these just to make sure that you get a better picture of your targets. So Nikto is actually very easy to use as well, and it's a great starting point for security assessments, just like WhatWeb. To use Nikto, again, we just simply open a terminal window, simply type Nikto, followed by the target URL with the -H. As we scan through the results of the Nikto scan, on that first server, we can see it basically just identifies that a lot of the information is out of date. So we can always leverage that for sure. But when we keep going down, we can see that it gives us some directories like usage, manual, icons. There's a test.php that we can take a look at. There's a WP content, which means there's possibly a WordPress server on here. Not sure, but we can check it and find out. And then it shows us that there is some potential remote command execution information here, but it's not very specific. And while this is valuable information, nothing really necessarily jumped out. The results of the Nikto scan against the first target really just doesn't provide much detail beyond what we already discovered using WhatWeb. So let's take a look at the other server. All right, the second one didn't give me a whole lot else other than, as I can see here, there's a PHP myadmin. So that's interesting, and we'll talk about that here a little bit more. So the scan against the second system also seems to be a lot more robust according to Nikto. And it includes things like PHP myadmin, which is an administrative app on the server for databases. So combining what we got on WhatWeb and combining with the Nikto results, it seems like what we should do is prioritize this more robust web server over the previous first server. And last but not least, let's explore Searchsploit. We've used Searchsploit in the past in previous videos, but I think it's very essential that we cover it again here. So Searchsploit is a powerful tool for searching and identifying exploits for known vulnerabilities. It's part of a popular exploit database, and it provides you with an extensive collection of exploits for various software and services. To use Searchsploit, we can do it at a command line. All we have to do is do Searchsploit and then provide information about the application or application and the version information. So Searchsploit will quickly search the database and present you with a list of available exploits that you can use for your penetration testing and your security assessments. As I mentioned, the Lotus CMS caught my eye when we first ran WhatWeb. So let's see what Searchsploit has to say about that app. Searchsploit, Lotus CMS. And again, we can see here that Lotus CMS 3.0, not sure what version we have, there's a potential remote code execution, and it's located in the Metasploit framework. And just to do our due diligence, I did a Searchsploit on PHP myadmin, and you can see that there's a bunch. All right, so the PHP myadmin is something that we would probably want to look at as well. And so those are both on the Lotus CMS, and the PHP myadmin are both on that second server. So based on that information, it only makes sense to use that as our first target. So it looks like it actually is indeed exploitable, and there is a Metasploit module available. So we'll probably take advantage of that. So now that we've done the WhatWeb, the Nikto, and the Searchsploit, we have an idea of which server we want to go after. Remember, this is our reconnaissance phase, so we're not actually trying to exploit the system, but we're trying to prioritize which systems we're going to go after first. However, it actually kind of feels wrong to just stop the tutorial here. So let's go ahead and actually use the data we collected and see if we can exploit the target system. So let's start up Metasploit and see what we can find out about the module. All right, I'm going to start up the Metasploit framework. And we can see it's up and running. So let me go ahead and get some information about the Lotus CMS. So we can do a search for Lotus CMS, if I can spell it right. And we can see that it's located, the exploit is located at exploit multi HTTP, and then it's LCMS PHP exec. So let's go ahead and move into that exploit. So we use exploit multi HTTP LCMS. Now it defaults to a payload PHP interpreter reverse TCP. You almost never really want to use their default. You want to set up one that you know will work or that you have more comfort with. It took me a while to actually figure out which one I needed to use. Again, I knew that the default wasn't going to work. So let me go ahead and change that real quick. So set payload to PHP reverse PHP. Okay, that's the payload that I know will be effective. But again, like I said, it's kind of a trial and error thing. And it's also what makes sense, right? If it's a PHP issue, then we want to make sure we load up a PHP exploit for that particular application. So let me go ahead and fill in the rest of the information. Let's take a look at what's required. So with the show options, we can see that we need our hosts. The remote port we've already got set up, but it's required. The URI is required. We need to find that out. And then other than that, everything else is already configured. All right, so let's find out what our URI is supposed to be. So let's open up a web server real quick, or let's open up a browser real quick. And we'll go to our server. So it's 10.0.2.6. And if we kick around, we can see that the login is at a slash, and then it goes right into PHP. So the URI is going to just be slash. It's not going to be, what did they have by default? The slash LCMS. It's not that. So we need to change the URI to the root directory. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we'll also set the R hosts to 10.0.2.6. Let's take a look and make sure we got everything that we needed set up. Okay, we got our remote host, we've got the port, we've got the URI. I think we're ready to go, so let's go ahead and launch it. Okay, it looks like we have a command shell. So let me do a who am I? It says I'm www-data. Let me do an ID just to see if we can confirm that. Yep. So again, we're user www-data. So let me just do one more command to show you that we are in and we have exploited this target system. So I'll ask it to list the information within the file called password, and I spelled it wrong. So let me do it correctly. All right, so there we go. We got the password file, and in this case we can see that obviously there's a root user. We go on down and we can see that there is a user called Lone Ferret. So at this point, we're in, we have some sort of access to the system. With that exploit, with this access, we can consider this a critical, and we can continue to explore the system and try to actually get root. But I think this is enough to demonstrate that what we were able to do is use the WhatWeb, Nikto, and Searchsploit all by themselves and be able to exploit the system. So there we have it. We've used WhatWeb, Nikto, and Searchsploit. And just with those three tools, we were able to identify an exploit and target the system and demonstrate that this target is actually exploitable. Again, we can see how powerful they are since we were able to gain a shell of the remote target. So that's it for today's video. We hope that you found this overview of web reconnaissance tools very informative. If you have any questions, please leave your comments in the section below. And again, make sure that you subscribe and ring that bell. Make sure also that you join us on our Discord server. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. So as always, happy hacking.